Welcome to the channel. I'm Tony the Technician. Today we're going to be going into the Amazon tool deals and checking out the items that I've found for this week. These are either going to be items that are on sale, items that even out their full price or list price I believe to be good deals, or items I find interesting and would like your guys' input on if you guys have used them. I will have all of these items that we go over today linked down in the description with their own independent links, so they're all easy to find. I'll have two additional links that say tools and tools continued. That's going to take you to a long list of tools that I've went over in the past or other tools that I suggest, so that's all there for you guys. First item up is a Lisle product. We went over a few Lisle products in the last month or so, and the items that we went over can be found from brands that you've never heard of, and you can save a little bit of money. But Lisle is a brand that I've used for many years for quite a few of their products and been very happy with, and I'm okay spending a couple extra dollars for their products. This is made in the USA, and this is a wheel stud installer. So there are many brands out there, Toyota, Subaru, many of them, that use poor quality wheel studs. They get galled up, they freeze up, they break, and it may be very common in the Midwest to have issues with wheel studs. So this is a very, very simple and easy to use tool, but one that can save you a lot of time. Now, there are workarounds by using a stack of washers and many other things. You could make your own if you're handy. This wheel stud installer simply allows you to pull the stud back into place when they're press fit. So this is at $23.89, down from a list price of $32.95. So a little bit of savings there. I would never pay $30 or more for it. 4.7 stars at 4,773 ratings. And basically when you get damaged studs or broken studs like so, then you can hammer out the old studs, and then to reinstall, they are press fit and you can't hammer it from the back. 98% of the time there's no room to hit the stud from the back. And so basically you slip the stud through, you place this spacer essentially over it, and then you use the lug nut to then thread down the new stud. And as it's pulling it, this is basically a spacer with a concave little section in order for the lug nut to sit in, and it pulls it through and places it where it needs to be. Really handy tool. All of the Lisle tools that I've went over in the last 3 weeks will be included in demonstration videos here in the near future, so stay tuned for that. If you guys have not used them, I'll gladly be making videos on the use of them. So very, very basic tool in its design, but a very handy tool if you live in the Midwest or if you just have a vehicle manufactured that has poor wheel studs. So once again, this is made in the USA. It's just under $24, but once again, you can find many others for cheaper. I just wanted to include the Lisle because it is a brand that I've used and trusted, but many others are available if you're not looking at spending the $24. Once again, this is probably going to be more for those in the automotive field, professional field, not so much weekend warriors or DIYers, but if you're a weekend warrior DIYer that does your own work or does a decent amount of work, this can be a handy one to have depending on where you live or the vehicle that you own. Next up is a Astro pneumatic tool, and a few weeks back, probably about a month ago now, we went over Tecton releasing their new pinless impact swivel sockets, universal sockets. And then I also mentioned the Astro, which is also a pinless set that was quite a bit cheaper. But pinless universal sockets are not cheap, no matter what. You can find cheaper ones, but they're not cheap. Probably around $60 is the cheapest that you're going to find a decent set, and they're going to go up to a couple $100, especially depending on the size of the set. They can get very, very expensive. Also, if you want shallow, mid-length, and deep, or just shallow and deep, you have to buy a whole set or buy them individually. It's still quite expensive. Whereas if you would find those tools extremely handy, this is a very cheap alternative to it. Just like with universal chrome sockets, you have your universal joint, which is very, very commonly found in socket sets because it's a lot cheaper to just include a universal socket or a universal adapter that you can use with your sockets. This is the same thing for impacts. This is a pinless one from Astro. with the 3/8 drive and 1/2 inch. And with pinless, you get a little bit better strength and I believe angle than a pinned version. The pinned ones are going to be a little bit cheaper, but they're not going to be quite as durable. And so I think $18.21 is a decent price on this. Astro has been one that I've also used quite a bit of their items and been very happy with, so I wouldn't be afraid of purchasing this, and I think it's a decent price. So you can use all of your impact sockets on it, shallow, deep, mid-length, whatever it may be, and saves you from buying multiple sets of impact rated universal sockets. Now granted, if you're in the professional field, that may just be the faster route to go. If you're a weekend warrior, DIY, or even a professional that's just not looking at spending all that money on all of those sets, this will get you the great coverage for under $20. Now granted, the socket's not permanently attached to it, so yes, there's the possibility of the socket coming off, but that's as common as however often your socket falls off of your ratchet or off of your extension. So I think this is a really good alternative and to save money over buying those if you're not looking at spending that much money. This has 4.6 stars at 22 ratings, but this is just from one of the brands that I recognize, use, and trust. There are other no-name brand ones that you can get all 3 drive sizes or just 1 drive size, and you can get them for a little bit cheaper, maybe around the $10 to $15 price range. Here is an item that I don't personally own or use, but it is one that I would consider. I actually use the Ernst Bit Boss, which I absolutely love. I have quite a few of their Bit Boss organizers in different setups and have really enjoyed them, but this is another alternative to that in organizing your bits. Before, I had so many Milwaukee and DeWalt little bifold bit sets just all laid out in my toolbox, and it took up a ridiculous amount of room. You either have a whole bunch of those, or you have maybe one big blow molded case, or you just have your bits all thrown into like a little container. I think this is a very affordable, good way to organize your bits. If I didn't have the Bit Boss, this would probably be one that I would consider as well. I like its simple design, its features, and some of the things that it includes. So this is the Free Zone Bit Organizer set. This has got 158 holes of bit storage, quarter-inch bits. The tools are not included. This has 4.4 stars at 334 ratings. This is at $23, not on sale. They do have it available in other color options as well, as you can see here. And the bits just simply press in, and it's got some, if you can see, some almost metal feet screwed in over here. The other thing that I like, if you look down below, it is like a pegboard system. They have these press in socket holders. So while this isn't going to be great probably for large 3/8 sets or 1/2 inch drive sets, they do include 3 of the 1/2 inch socket holders, 3 of the 3/8, and 3 of the 1/4 inch. And basically you drop these down in the holes and then you twist and it locks it in place, and you can actually place sockets on this organizer as well, not just your bits. And you can buy just these little socket attachments, which I think would also be an affordable route depending on how many sockets and stuff that you have. I think it's going to work really well for 1/4 inch drive sockets and pretty well for 3/8 drive, but when you start getting into those larger sockets, using those 1/2 inch adapters, it's going to use up a lot of that pegboard space. I'm sure you can just get pegboards that are a little bit bigger, not necessarily this one that's primarily made for bits, but maybe a bigger platform that allows you to fit more wherever you want. But I think overall it's a really good affordable design. There you can see some of the socket organizers used on it. There it's using some crow's foot. And here you can see you can get the just socket holders. You can get magnetic feet as well. And then you can get little drop-in size indicators. When looking at these, you do get a 60-piece set for that $16. So it's not priced too bad for what you're getting. So I think it'd be a great option for bit storage and a decent option for socket organization. Last item on today's list is not a cheap item. This is one that I'm personally considering. So this is the QuickJack 5000 TL, and I have the race deck flooring in my garage, and using a jack on it and standard jack stands is not easy. Using them by themselves would probably damage the flooring. With the flooring that I have, there are different options available. But I actually use a steel plate underneath my jack, and then I have the aluminum jack stands from Pittsburgh or from Harbor Freight, because it has a solid flat bottom instead of the little L-shaped metal feet that you get on your standard jack stands. And I use those in conjunction to prevent damage to my flooring and protect myself while I'm underneath my car. And honestly, it just gets old. While I love my flooring, I'm not willing to rip it out just for jacking up my car, but with how often I work on my vehicles, it can be quite annoying. I also don't have really the height in my garage to install like a 2-post lift, and even if I did, power supply for it, and then removing the flooring and getting it installed, it's just not something I'm willing to really go through. Maybe one day when I have a home with a shop, that'll be a different story. But I think this is a great alternative for those with limited space. Maybe not the same flooring situation that I have. Maybe you don't really have to deal with that. Not a whole lot of people have garage flooring like I do. It's not a common thing, but if you do, this is a good option. Or if you're limited on space and you can't, afford the space for a 2-post lift or the cost of a 2-post lift, while this is not cheap, it is still better priced than a 2-post lift without all of the hassle of install and the space that it takes up. These are called QuickJacks. There are knockoffs sold. I know Vivor has some, but the funny thing is their pricing is no better than, I believe QuickJack is the original maker of this style of jack. I could be wrong, but this is the brand that I know about. It is a very popular brand. This has 4.5 stars at 172 ratings. They do have multiple different sizes as well, 7,000 and many others. They also come in different lengths depending on the size of your vehicle. And these are just really handy because they come with hangers that you can hang them up on the wall. They're like 70 inches long. So they're not small, but they're not going to take up as much room as like a 2-post lift or anything like that. It comes with a hydraulic pump to use these and the lines and everything. You get everything you need, and it runs off of your standard 110, and they have a really low profile, so you just simply slide them underneath your vehicle and lift from your frame or your pinch weld. They come with different blocks. There you can see some rubber lift blocks, and you get 2 feet. That's more than I would ever get using my jacks in my garage, for sure. So this is one that I'm considering just because it's gonna make life so much easier, but the price is the only thing holding me back. They are not cheap, around $1,500 on sale for this size. There you can see the pump in use. And honestly, with how low my Camaro is and my next project car is also going to be quite low, having more room than what my jack provides would be really, really handy. And the stability of these, I've seen them used a lot, and they're just solid products. I just think it's a good option for me. Obviously, not a whole lot of people are going to be purchasing this, but if you're a weekend warrior DIYer with limited space, not willing to pay the price or worry about the install or fitting a 2-post lift or something similar in your shop or garage, I think this is a really good alternative. Not as cheap as jack and jack stands, not as expensive or as hectic of an install as a full lift, kind of a happy medium. So eventually, I know I will get these. I'll probably wait to see if I can find the best deal on them here soon around the holidays. So we'll see. Let me know your guys' thoughts, or if any of you guys have actually used these, please let me know your guys' thoughts on them. So that is the last item on today's list. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, all of these items will be linked down in the description for you guys. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the items that we went over today. There will also be those 2 additional links that I have that will take you to a long list of tools that I've went over in the past. And if you guys haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.